I was raised in the city of Modesto, Northern California, in a wonderful home in a neighborhood situated between the apple orchards on one side and Juvenile Hall on the other. And on the other side of Juvie, there was this huge building, and the sign on the front read Modesto Junior College. Growing up, I had no idea what that meant or what a junior college was. I thought it was some sort of mega high school. My amazing parents always pushed me to do well in school. Their mantra was, and still is, do the best you can, and we'll be proud of you no matter what. And without a doubt, they set me down a path to becoming a first gen college student. But 11 years ago, as a junior at Modesto High School, my parents were still figuring it out with me. Like many of us, I had a teacher who was the difference maker for me, someone who helped me envision a future for myself. My 11th grade history teacher, Mr. Peterson, taught me three things I'll never forget that inform every decision I make in working with our kids. Every day we walked in and he was wearing a suit and tie. Instead of asking us to open our textbooks or to follow along on a slideshow, he just asked for our attention. He'd usually have 3 to 4 words or themes written on the whiteboard that day that would guide his lecture, and lecture he did. But his lectures were a two-way street. He sat down with us and he just had a conversation with us. He knew we were a bunch of high school juniors, but he treated us like adults. And he just talked to us about everything from the American Revolution to the Civil Rights Movement. He taught lesson one: a textbook informs a learner, but a relationship informs a leader. About halfway through the year, he led us through the Holocaust. His lecture about the Holocaust wasn't titled The Final Solution or The Atrocities of World War II. It was titled Bystanders. Our conversational bookends were the Holocaust, but the middle of the conversation took us everywhere. It took us to 1960s Queens, to the murder of Kitty Genovese, the case where nearly 40 of her neighbors were accused of failing to take action as she was robbed, stabbed, and raped, leading to her death as she was rushed to the hospital. The case that gave birth to the term bystander effect. Whether it's on a street corner in our neighborhood or halfway around the world, we have a responsibility to one another. I remember Mr. Peterson couldn't hold back his tears as he implored us, a group of high school juniors in third period, to take seriously the lessons of the past so that we might choose better for our future. And he, as a teacher, a mentor, a role model, he would get no peace unless we were willing to do better. His second lesson: a mentor is who his student becomes. On the final day of the school year, we had our final exam. Now, I've been to UCI, I've taken my fair share of tough tests, but I think I was just about finishing up the essay question on the justification of the United States' decision to drop the atomic bombs, so I was already sweating through it when he suddenly asked everyone to put their pencils down early, an entire 5 minutes before the bell rang. He walked over to the side of the classroom and he grabbed one of those TVs on wheels that every classroom seemingly came with. You know, like the 20, like the 30-inch screen with the 20-inch deep back on that giant rolling cart. And he popped in a VHS tape. He played the final minutes of The Wizard of Oz. And I'm sorry if you're one of the 6 people who hasn't seen it, but I'm about to spoil it. Picture in your mind the moment when our main characters, our heroes, are confronted by the great and powerful wizard, and they're terrified, and they have no escape, and they have no idea what to do. It is at that moment when the film's unlikeliest character, the one you would least expect, then trots over on all fours over to where the wizard is, and he or she reveals the source of the booming voice to be that of just a man. Mr. Peterson paused it before Dorothy could click her heels, and he said to a group of high school juniors, before you walk out that door, before you go and have your summer, you become seniors, you graduate, and before you become productive citizens of the world. As your history teacher, I don't care if you remember when the War of 1812 happened. I do care that you remember this. In whatever you do, be bold and never be afraid to be the one to pull back the curtain. His final lesson: be like Toto.